Two of Hollywood's brightest names, Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, once stood side by side.
Too far?
No.
Celebrated for bringing one of the decade's most emotional love stories to life. But away from the red carpets and interviews, something darker was unfolding. What began as a dream collaboration quickly spiraled into a storm of rumors, accusations, and a courtroom battle that exposed the fault lines beneath Hollywood's glittering surface. Fans were stunned. How did a movie meant to celebrate resilience and healing turn into one of the most talked about disputes in recent Hollywood history?
I know you. Anyone but him.
The headlines told one story, social media told another, but the truth, as always, was far more complicated. Behind the smiles and polished press appearances, both stars were fighting to protect something deeper. Their reputations, their creative legacies, and the very image of who they were in the public eye. By the time cameras stopped rolling, trust had fractured, alliances had shifted, and an unexpected legal war was brewing.
I'm not shocked his defamation suit, was dropped. Or dismissed, I should say.
Now, honestly, she won the battle. She didn't win the war.
This is the story of how a film set became a battlefield, how admiration turned into accusation, and how two powerful voices ended up facing each other in court. But as shocking as this sounds, what really happened between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively might surprise even their most loyal fans. Because once the cameras stopped rolling, the real drama began. It all began with a story that was supposed to heal hearts, not break reputations. When Justin Baldoni announced he would direct It Ends With Us, fans were thrilled. The novel by Colleen Hoover had already sold millions, and Baldoni, known for his sensitive, emotional storytelling, seemed like the perfect choice to bring it to the screen.
First official customer?
Then came the surprise. Blake Lively was cast as Lily Bloom, the lead character.
Hey Lily, you want to do the honors?
No, you go ahead. I need to take it in from you.
Her involvement transformed the project overnight. Two respected names, one powerful story, and the kind of excitement Hollywood hadn't seen in years. The internet exploded with praise, calling it the dream pairing of actor and director.
I want to see you again.
Now you see me.
You know what I mean.
On paper, it was flawless. During the early days of production, both seemed deeply committed to the film's message. Resilience, self-discovery, and the courage to walk away from pain. Behind the scenes, interviews showed laughter, respect, and collaboration. Lively praised Baldoni's passion. Baldoni spoke of her creative insight and leadership on set. It was, at first glance, an artistically aligned partnership built on trust. But the closer filming got to completion, the more whispers began to spread. Some crew members described an atmosphere charged with creative intensity. Others hinted that artistic visions didn't always align. Those early comments barely reached the press. At least not yet. Still, fans sensed something off. Social media threads began to speculate about subtle shifts in tone during the film's promotion. Public appearances grew rarer. Jokes between the two became noticeably restrained.
I'm so sorry.
And though no one could prove it, some wondered whether their artistic partnership was already unraveling before the world even saw the finished film. The tension was hidden behind smiles and studio-controlled interviews, until one unexpected event brought everything boiling to the surface. Because what happened next would turn quiet disagreements into a Hollywood scandal no one saw coming. But as filming wrapped, the first signs of trouble began to surface, quietly at first, in whispers and anonymous posts. What had once looked like perfect on-screen chemistry was now shadowed by creative tension behind the scenes. Rumors began circulating that disagreements over the final edit had driven a wedge between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. According to reports, Lively wanted a more grounded and character-driven cut, while Baldoni preferred a cinematic, emotionally charged style that mirrored his previous work.
What are you doing in Boston?
I opened my flower shop.
Neither view was wrong. But in Hollywood, two strong visions can clash like thunder. Some insiders claimed Lively was frustrated that her input as both lead actress and executive producer wasn't fully respected. Others suggested Baldoni felt cornered by studio expectations and mounting fan pressure. Whatever the truth, one thing was certain. Communication had started to break down. Crew members reportedly described tense moments on set, quiet disagreements that lingered long after takes were finished. In interviews, both stars began speaking less about each other and more about their individual creative journeys. It was subtle, but fans noticed. And when early promotional materials dropped, the tone between them seemed different. Gone were the warm exchanges that once filled press junkets.
I love you.
Wasn't my question.
Now their appearances felt carefully managed, almost distant. Online fan communities started dissecting every expression, every body language cue, searching for answers. Still, no one outside the production knew how deep the divide had grown, until a sudden leak would shatter any illusion that the rift was just a rumor. Because when private conversations became public headlines, there was no turning back. December 2024. Out of nowhere, a series of leaked messages and emails began circulating online. Messages allegedly between Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and key members of the production team. No one knew where they came from, but within hours, they were everywhere. The content was explosive. Some messages hinted at deep disagreements over creative control. Others suggested frustration about how certain scenes were portrayed. And who had the final say? Fans took sides instantly. Hashtags calling for justice for Blake and support for Justin began trending across platforms.
Drama surrounding It Ends With Us has been all the talk lately, and unfortunately, with so much attention, Blake Lively has been put in the hot seat on social media.
But here's where things got complicated. Neither side confirmed the leaks were real. Baldoni's team called them fabricated, insisting the messages had been manipulated and taken out of context. Lively's representatives responded that she wouldn't comment on private communications or ongoing professional matters. That silence only made the speculation louder. Entertainment outlets pounced on the story, each spinning their own version of events.
This really reveals a new playbook. This raises questions about who else is sort of being targeted. I mean, to use their own language, they use the terms social manipulation.
Some claim the studio itself was behind the leaks to generate buzz before the film's release. Others hinted at sabotage from within the production team. Nothing was proven, but the narrative had already escaped everyone's control. Behind the scenes, lawyers got involved. Cease and desist letters were reportedly sent to media outlets sharing the leaked content. What started as gossip now had legal teeth. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a movie. It was about careers, reputations, and credibility in an industry built on perception. And while the public devoured every new exclusive, something far more serious was brewing quietly in the background. Something that would soon pull the entire feud out of the tabloids and straight into a courtroom. Because when one side finally went to court, the story everyone thought they knew began to change completely. As the new year rolled in, Justin Baldoni and his team made their move. January 2025 marked the launch of a lawsuit that sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Baldoni, along with his production company Wayfarer Studios and several associates, filed a $400 million countersuit. Not just against Blake Lively, but also against her husband Ryan Reynolds, and even the New York Times. The filings were detailed and damning. Baldoni claimed that Lively and her team had orchestrated a calculated smear campaign, feeding falsehoods to the media to paint him as a villain. Every leaked message, every social media post, every article, according to his team, was part of a deliberate attempt to tarnish his reputation and damage his career. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, was vocal and unflinching. "We are not done," he told the press. "There are other bad actors involved, and make no mistake, this will not be the last lawsuit." Friedman framed the case as a fight against powerful forces trying to rewrite the narrative, insisting that Baldoni was standing up for truth and accountability. The countersuit also expanded the battlefield. It accused Lively and Reynolds of civil extortion, defamation, and intentional interference with economic advantage, painting the couple as strategic players working behind the scenes. Even high-profile PR firms linked to the case were drawn into the legal fray. For the public, this was dizzying. What had seemed like a behind-the-scenes feud over a film suddenly became a sprawling legal war involving Hollywood A-listers, news organizations, and entire PR teams. Headlines screamed about $400 million battles, and Hollywood feuds turned courtroom dramas, keeping the story alive in the media cycle. And while Baldoni's team presented their case with fierce confidence, Lively's camp pushed back just as forcefully, insisting that the allegations of harassment and retaliation were grounded in fact, setting the stage for a trial that would captivate both fans and industry insiders alike. But the courtroom was only the beginning. Behind the scenes, every statement, every leak, every move was being meticulously documented, and it would soon become part of an even bigger story. While Baldoni's countersuit made headlines, Blake Lively was far from sitting back. By late January 2025, she and her legal team were ready to push forward, filing their own formal lawsuit against Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and several associates. The allegations were serious and detailed, claiming sexual harassment, retaliation, and a deliberate attempt to damage her reputation.
Giant WME telling the New York Times it dropped Baldoni from its roster, just one day after Lively filed a legal complaint accusing him of sexual harassment and retaliation.
Lively framed her case as standing up not only for herself, but for others who had spoken out about misconduct on set. Her attorneys described a strategy rooted in facts and evidence, citing texts, emails, and first-hand accounts that they argued proved Baldoni and his team had engaged in unlawful behavior. Lively's team emphasized that these weren't vague accusations. They were backed by documented incidents and witness accounts. The lawsuit extended beyond Baldoni, involving Reynolds and publicists, pointing to what her camp described as a coordinated effort to smear her publicly. The actress and her team didn't just rely on courtroom filings. They went on the offensive in the media, calling out what they considered attempts to manipulate the narrative. In statements to press outlets, her lawyers highlighted tactics often seen in harassment cases: denial, shifting blame, and misrepresenting the victim's actions, a pattern they attributed to Baldoni and Wayfarer. Meanwhile, Lively took steps to safeguard her communications and legal strategy, even hiring a former CIA deputy to advise on crisis management. Every public statement, every legal filing, and every strategic move was calculated to maintain pressure and protect her position in the ongoing battle. The stakes were high, and both sides knew it. While Baldoni claimed he was defending his reputation against a manufactured campaign, Lively maintained that she was exposing a real pattern of harassment and retaliation. With the trial officially set for March 2026, the counterattacks escalated, turning what had been a behind-the-scenes conflict into one of Hollywood's most closely watched legal dramas. And yet, the battle wasn't confined to the courtroom. Behind the headlines, new revelations, leaked messages, and public statements kept the story evolving, and the stakes higher than ever. By mid-2025, the conflict between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively had moved from headlines to the courtroom, with both sides gearing up for what promised to be a high-stakes legal showdown. Every filing, deposition, and motion became a flashpoint in a battle that blended celebrity, allegations, and public scrutiny. The courtroom was no longer just a place for legal arguments. It had become the center stage of a real-life drama unfolding for the world to follow. Lively's deposition in July 2025 drew significant attention. Despite media portrayals of a tense face-to-face showdown, her attorneys emphasized that it was a structured legal process, with multiple defendants and their lawyers present. The session revealed not only the details of her allegations, but also the meticulous preparation her team had undertaken to document incidents, gather witness testimony, and counter Baldoni's narrative. On the other side, Baldoni's team continued to defend him vigorously, releasing behind-the-scenes footage from It Ends With Us to challenge Lively's claims. Their goal was to provide context, showing scenes of professionalism and consent, arguing that Lively's interpretation misrepresented events on set. These releases fueled the public debate, blurring the line between courtroom proceedings and media coverage. Legal maneuvers intensified. Motions to dismiss, amended complaints, and strategic subpoenas became routine. Notably, Baldoni's attempt to subpoena Taylor Swift's involvement in the film drew public and media attention, though it was later withdrawn. Lively's team, meanwhile, fortified their position with expert legal advice, including crisis management consultants, ensuring every move was both legally sound and publicly resonant. The courtroom drama was about more than legal points. It became a chessboard of strategy, public perception, and high-profile personalities. Each statement, evidence submission, and filing added layers to the narrative, leaving audiences debating who was in the right and watching closely as the trial date, set for March 2026, loomed ever closer. With the courtroom battles intensifying, the public had front-row seats to a story of fame, power, and the fight for reputation, and neither side showed signs of backing down. The legal battle reached a critical turning point when, in June 2025, the court dismissed Justin Baldoni's countersuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, their publicist Leslie Sloan, her firm Vision PR, and the New York Times. The judge ruled that Baldoni and his legal team had not substantiated claims of defamation or civil extortion. For many, this marked a clear moment of accountability, in a case that had been as much about reputation as it was about legal principles. Blake Lively took to social media to acknowledge the outcome, sharing her relief and gratitude. She framed the decision not just as a personal victory, but as a reminder of the challenges faced by those without the resources to fight back against legal intimidation. Her message resonated widely, amplifying discussions about workplace misconduct, retaliation, and the power dynamics within Hollywood. For Baldoni, the dismissal was far from the end. His attorney stressed that the narrative of the case was misrepresented and that evidence contradicted the allegations, signaling plans to appeal and continue other legal actions. Despite this, the public perception had shifted, with many seeing the dismissal as vindication for Lively. The fallout extended beyond the courtroom. Baldoni had already lost key professional relationships, including his representation at William Morris Endeavor, and behind-the-scenes partnerships were strained. Meanwhile, Lively's standing was reinforced, with supporters across the industry, co-stars, authors, and other prominent figures voicing solidarity, highlighting the reputational and emotional stakes intertwined with legal outcomes. This verdict also underscored the intricate interplay between law, media, and celebrity culture. Every filing, deposition, and leaked document had been dissected in the press, creating a real-time narrative that influenced public opinion long before the judge's ruling. Both sides had leveraged public attention as part of their legal strategy, blurring the line between courtroom procedure and media spectacle. As the dust settled, the industry watched closely, not just at the legal outcome, but at the shifting landscape of influence, accountability, and what it truly means to defend one's reputation in Hollywood.